you know, if I had looked at the instructions, it literally says the first thing to do. If you follow the instructions, that's how it says to do it. Welcome back to the workbench, where we try to make things, and what we're continuing to try to make today is Cutebee's Gothic Castle Book Nook. Now, the folks over at Cutebee were nice enough to send this to us so we can take a look at it, and I've also included a link down in the description in case you want to build along. You can get your own. So just check down in the description. There's a link there for you. We are now, where have we made it to? Basically, we have built the main structure. In fact, let me just bring it over. Built the main structure and I guess started or almost completed. Hopefully you guys can even see this. Let me zoom out a little bit. I think that'll be all right. And then we've kind of started and almost completed the first wing here. Let me lay it down so you can see a little better. You can see how it's going to open up for us. But now we need to finish out this wing. You can see, whoops, I just knocked this loose. Let me bring it back. You can see the back side is kind of unfinished. So that's where we're at now. We have got to, yeah, it looks like we finished up here. We've got to do all these pieces, which is a bunch of the plastic pieces, and then kind of build out the backside, and that'll have it done. So there's a lot of work here to do. Yeah, so I'd say let's get to it. Oh, I just realized this is right in my face. So you got a good view of the top here in my face cam. Let's see, what we need to do first, you know what I'm gonna do first is probably put this back piece on. Let me bring this over. What's the best way for you guys to be able to see? I guess we'll just do it like this. Let me move my instructions so I can see. We've got H7, which is our kind of surround, what's going to go around the eye here. Which way does this go? That's a good question. Does it matter which way it goes? Let's see. I think it is going to matter. Actually, I think it's going to have to go this way. Now, I need to get these wires out of the way. They have to go right down here. Nice and flat if we can get them. They run down around this piece here, and then we're going to have this that slides in what looks like right here. There's a couple of notches here for us. Whoops. If I can get it to stay. There we go. And then I guess, does this notch, I'm assuming it notches just up in these notches up top here. If I can get that to... It doesn't seem to be fitting. Maybe I have this... No, it's... Do I? No, it can't be upside down because these... Well, let me show you. Can I lay this like this? Well, it's... Oh, something fell. Oh, that piece fell off again. I need to glue that in place at some point. We've got tabs here and here that fit in little notches in this guy here, so that we know that's how that goes. These, oh, I think this probably on the top side just sits like that. I don't think it notches in on the top side. That kind of fills in like so, I guess. I don't want it to be too far back. Let me pull that back out and see. I want it to sit, I think we want it to sit kind of on top there. And of course now it's come out of the bottom notches. Let me sit it back up. Yeah, these wires are kind of giving us hassle here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to take a piece of tape. I'm going to try to tape these wires kind of down and flat so they're not pulling up on our piece here. Basically, they're trying to push out on what we're working on. I don't want it to do that. I want to hold them flat there, and then these need to go in and around here. Like that. Okay, so now let's tuck this back in again. I think that'll help us out. This is just going to kind of sit. It has to go this, there we go. It's going to sit right in here. I think I'm just going to hold it loose for now. I don't want to push it in around the eye too much, I don't think. Because what we're going to do is put this piece on here. Where does it go? Oh, I have it upside down. This will help. So we've got a place for it to go here. And then it needs to push in. On the bottom. It has tabs on the bottom. Come on. Where's my trusty hammer here? That might help us out a little bit. It needs to go in a little bit further. Just and then it needs to clamp in here on the sides too. So it's got a lot going on here. What else do we? Yeah, it needs to clamp in on this side. When I say clamp in, I mean there's tabs and notches for it, like that. Let's see if I can get this one down here. Come on. There you go. Trying not to break anything. That's always my fear. You start really squeezing on things and pushing on things, you end up breaking some wood, and that's definitely not good. I'm gonna squeeze. I think it's this one right here that's giving us a little trouble. I think I just need this to go down. There it went. And then it should squeeze in this way now. There we go. Like so, and then we got to make it happen here too on this side. Come on. We got a lot going on here, which makes it, whenever you have a lot more tabs you got to deal with, it's a little bit more difficult, and I found best to just kind of work your way around. This side's not wanting to go in. Let me see if I hold it in place. What's kind of giving us the trouble? If I hold it in place and then just try to pop it in there. That kind of work? I think so. Just get all this kind of tight. I've got all kinds of things falling off. I think we're going to glue those in place here in just a second. Probably should have done that a long time ago. I think we're pretty close. Is that? I think that's all kind of sitting in there how it should be. Yeah. Flat on the bottom. Yeah. Okay. There we go. All right. So it just takes a little patience. You know what we need to do real quick before I move forward? These little spires keep falling off just from banging and stuff. What I'm going to do is just put a touch of CA glue to glue them on. Where's the one? Where are they at that fell? This one goes... Oh, I've kind of put the glue in the wrong spot, didn't I? But that's okay. That'll hold it like that. And then this one actually kind of came apart in two pieces here. How did this go? Goes... Uh-oh. How does this go? I gotta remember how this one went back together. Meanwhile, our CA glue is curing that I've already put on. How did this go? This way? This way. Yeah, this way. There we go. And then let's put this in place here. Oh, goodness. Why am I having trouble putting this back on? There we go. Okay, like that. And then hopefully that CA glue will kind of... I just put a little drop, not much, but hopefully it's enough to just kind of hold that in place while we're banging on all this other stuff. Probably should have glued those in place to begin with, to be honest with you. But anyways, yeah, this wall looks good. All right. A little backtrack there, but now we've got to do basically a bunch more plastic pieces, which I've got all pulled loose over here. Let me kind of slide them over. I've tried to keep them somewhat organized, but I've moved them so many times they might not be organized anymore. I hope they are. Let me slide some stuff around. We'll slide this up. So we've got to build basically more of these spires. Let me see if I can. That looks like that piece. I've, of course, have broke them loose, so now I don't know what piece is which. And then that one has the center. So it should go like this. Oh, something I do want to mention is I have gone through in every single tab, every single one of these tabs, I took a sanding stick is how I did it, and sanded them down just a little bit. I just realized this is right in my face. Let me move. Hi. Let me move that out of the way. But I went through and sanded every one of them already in prep for this. Trust me, you'll want to do that up front because these plastic pieces will go together much easier. It's easier to put just a touch of glue on them if need be than to try to force them in place, which I have actually done on previous steps and then had them break. And then instead of gluing pieces in place, you're gluing pieces together, back together. I think I'm going to move this over, and I'm going to actually put these in place where they go up top here, which is a very good question as to where that is. I think this one goes, is it going to go here? Yeah, it's going to go like that. You have no idea what I'm doing. Let me move this back where you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to move the instructions where I can see them. So we've got that piece that goes there. We've got this piece that goes here, like so, and then this piece that slides in this way here, like this, okay? Let me get better where you can see. So we've got 3 pieces that go there. And then we've got this, where is this guy? We've got this plastic piece. Now I want to point out that they do show us, let me see if you can see it, the direction that this piece we're about to put in, this piece, what is it, A30, has to orientate itself, which is basically there is a slot in it that's rectangular, and that rectangular slot has to go forward to backwards. I hope that makes sense. So what that means is it has to go in here this way, which is right in these pieces. Now, hopefully my sanding has done the job and this fits together nice and easily. Otherwise, this can be a real hassle. Did that make it together? I don't think it's pulling quite all the way together. Just like that, okay. Yeah, it looks like that's all fitting together there, right? I think so. And then there's some spires that go on top of here, right? How does this go? Oh, it's just a single. So we need one of these and one of, what do we need? One of these. So these pieces are just gonna fit together like so. Hopefully like so, there we go. And then this fits in here. Okay, and that's definitely gonna need a touch of glue. Where did I put my glue? Yeah, that's definitely going to need a touch of glue. You can see either due to my sanding or whatever, it's really loose in there. So I'm just going to put a touch of glue on it just to hold it in place. And again, this is just a little bit of CA glue. And in fact, if you want a discount on some very good CA glue, I've got a discount for you guys down in the description on some Starbond CA glue. Get yourself a 10% discount down below. Okay, and that's going to sit like that. And I'm going to let that sit just a second because that's kind of gluing up. But we also need to do a spire on the front side. So let me just turn this just a little bit very carefully. I want to let that keep gluing up. Oh, I see. This actually, I just noticed. This is the spire that's hiding the top of that long bar we put through. So it's going to end up hiding that, which is kind of nice. Okay, is that gluing? Yeah. Well, whoops. If I'd leave it alone, it would. In fact, I can make it glue up real quick. I'm just going to hit it with some. There, now we don't have to worry about it. Just hit it with some accelerant. And now we've got, what is it? These 2 pieces. So let me see which one goes where. We've got these guys. One is A21 and one is A4. I don't remember which is which. Okay, this one is A4 and is going to go here. And then this one will go here, like so. Okay, and then we've got another one of these. Where is it? Back there somewhere. And again, we need it to run front to back. Can you see the rectangular slot in there? That needs to run front to back of the building, of the castle of the Book Nook, whatever. And that's going to sit there like so. Okay. And then we're going to have another one of these spires. So we need to put this together like that. And then let's see how well this one fits in there if I need to put glue. Actually, you know what? This one's fitting tighter. So I'm going to pull this out for a second and try to get it in there. Actually, it's fitting loose. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just put a dot of glue on that also. Whoops. Where'd you go? And in all honesty, you could glue all this together. I don't like to, just in case I make a goof up. If you put CA glue on this, it's pretty permanent. So don't, make sure if you're gluing something with CA glue, make sure it is what you want it to be, because it's going to be real difficult to change. All right, let's put that in place like so. Let me make sure I think it's got something that is holding it kind of funny. Let me turn it around. Yeah, that looks okay, I think. I'm going to spray it. Kind of lock it in place, I guess you could say. Here we go. Yeah, and I think once all the rest of the parts are put in, it'll look really good. And I think, is that everything for that? Yeah, that's everything for that particular part. Now, we're going to go down here to this direction, and we've got 3 of these. Did I miss putting? Let me see where these parts go. So this is going to be, it looks like A7, I think. Yeah, this is going to be, I think, A13. Oh, I see we have an A13 and then we have an A15. There it is. Okay, and that's A15. Okay, let's start with finishing off this spire here, which it's gonna fit in just like this here. Just kind of caps this off, hopefully relatively easily. Hopefully my sanding did the job. And then it looks like this, we've got a tab here in the wood that needs to fit into the plastic piece. Is that right? Yes. So let's see if we can make that happen. That means all of this has to line up on it, which I think I just got it. There we go. There we go. And that's going to help hold that. It's kind of nice. It helps hold that in place. Helps hold the spire in place. We're going to do the same thing over here. We've got this. Well, no, that's not right. Which piece goes where? We've got this way, this way. Okay. So we've got these 2 pieces. One, does that make sense? Yeah, it does make sense. So this one's going to go right here. And it has a tab in the wood also that it's going to try to fit into. Am I hitting it? I think so. And then we've got this piece that goes here and it should tie it all together. We've got the tab up top and then the tabs on the sides and then the tab in the wood. Okay, this one's going to be the difficult one for us. I can already tell. Okay. What is not? I think that's, oh boy. Okay. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to let it all fall apart. I'm going to get these side ones in first. There we go. I think that's going to be maybe the easier way to go about this. If we put the side ones in. When I say the side ones, I guess the longer pieces, the ones that are notching into the wood. Yeah, see there I can get them notched into the wood, which kind of establishes where these need to go. Now this piece needs to go here. Push it down in. Pop it in. Like that. Like that. Yeah, that seems to kind of be working better as long as I can get this one in now. Here. There we go. Yeah, that's the better way to, that was the easier way to do it. So what I did, just so you know, I put these two pieces in first that notch into the wood and kind of establish where the spire needs to go, and then put the top pieces in. And they're pretty solid. I like it. Nice. Okay, so that's got our spires complete, which look good. I think everything looks pretty as it should be. This one might could push on just a little bit, but that's all right. It's good. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, and then next we just need to put, yeah, we need to put this, let's see. Oh, you know what? You know, if I had looked at the instructions, it literally says the first thing to do. If you follow the instructions, that's how it says to do it. Put these on first and then the smaller pieces. Well, you know, we got there in the end. But now let's go ahead and put this on, which it says we need to glue. Okay, so we're gonna have to glue this on. So I need to, can I set this down like flat very carefully? Let me close that back up. Because we need to glue this on. It doesn't peg on or anything, so I gotta glue it. I'm gonna let it sit flat to do that. I'm gonna use my white glue. You know what, actually what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put some white glue here, 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 probably here, here. You can see the white place where it's going to glue up. The white, I'm gonna try to hit some of these extremities so that they don't kind of flip around on us, if that makes sense. Kind of get those outside pieces glued in also. Like that, maybe hit this here. Okay. Wipe some of that up. And then what I'm also gonna do now is I'm just gonna drop CA glue right there, right there, right there, and right there. And that'll give us a quick glue up, I guess you could say. And then the white glue will hold everything else at the end of the day. I'm gonna have to stand up, sorry, because I need to be able to see. I need to be able to see that I'm in the right place, which I think I am. I'm gonna hold this in those 4 spots just for a second to get the CA glue to cure and to hold this in place. And then as the white glue dries, it'll really hold it in place. I'm missing just a little bit. Let me make sure I'm in the right spot. There we go. Let me hold this. Of course, I didn't put any glue here. I probably should have. I didn't think about that. I think it's okay. Okay, let's let that sit just a second because we have one more piece to put in, which is this guy, and it's going to go up top here, but I want this to kind of set. Oops, yeah, let me hold it. It's wanting to pull away. So I want this to glue up and set, and hopefully the CA glue should do the job, do that trick for us. Let me hold it for a second. Usually takes about 45 seconds, I think is what Starbond recommends, as far as without using accelerant to give pressure and to hold. Now that also depends on how the amount of tension the pieces are under, right? So if they are under tension, it'll take longer because it really needs to fully cure. But let's see, did that work for us? I think we lost it down here, but that's all right. I can glue that up, or I can put something on it here in a second because I want to get this piece installed, which goes right here up top. And that finishes off this piece. There's one last thing, I think I'm gonna put some glue behind this piece just to keep it from flippy flopping like that. So I'm gonna just do a few little housekeeping things, I think. Like putting a little glue on that guy, which should help hold it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt this back like so. And then you can see I need this to be held down. So I'll just use paint bottle, just put some weight on it to let it glue up. And that will have this side done. I guess we'll call it a wing of the opening wing. So that has that finished up. And then next we're going to be, I'll tell you what, we're getting actually very close to having this built because it looks like the other wing is a lot more simple. It doesn't have as much going on. we're going to start working on that next time we get together. So I'll get all the parts pulled and prepped and ready to go so that we can start step 4. Knocking step over. So we can start step 4. I'm trying to hold this stuff. Okay, let me do my outro. Yeah, we'll get started on step 4, but if you've enjoyed this so far, please hit the like button. Let me know down below how your build's going if you're building along. Let me know how it's going. I'd like to hear how, are you having the same struggles I have? Or did you find easier ways to do things? Plus, if you leave those comments down below, people in the future can see them. And if there's some good advice you have, they can have that advice when they're building theirs, which is very helpful. Appreciate you joining me. Hit that like button, subscribe, do all those things you do on YouTube, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.